What's up, guys? This is Danny P from Flipping Pucks and Chucking Knucks alongside Dougie Fresh. This is a new little vlog segment we're doing here. So we're kind of just talking about our friendship, pop culture, life as people call it. I figured we just gonna give you guys a behind the scenes look at our friendship, and Adam and Joel will be joining us eventually as far as just how our friendship blossomed and how we became such great friends. So, without further ado, how's it going, buddy?
Yeah, it's going good. We just finished a great podcast for the main channel, Flippin' Pucks. I thought it went pretty well. But yeah, it's good to see you again. Long time no see, right? 10 minutes ago,
Yeah,
not even.
it's been 10 freaking minutes.
It's felt like a year. So,
But yeah, so I think our first topic we sort of wanted to hit on this vlog was sort of how you and I got to know each other, and how it was sort of kind of random and sort of kind of out of the blue.
yeah, no kidding. If you would have said, when that happened, that I would be talking to you, 15 years later. That long, that you've
Yeah.
been, such a friend for so long. I would have called you crazy. Just a random encounter.
Yeah, so essentially, you were in college, and I was looking for a place to stay, and a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, it's a dorm setup. Would you be interested?" And I was like, "Sure, why not? Well, let's check it out. At least meet the guy." And I walked in, and I'll never forget. You have your salmon black jersey on your
Still
laptop with
have
like
it. Still
like NHL. Yeah, yeah, with hockey on there with an Xbox. I'm like, oh, well, this seems like a pretty solid setup.
checked all the boxes.
And yeah, exactly. Hockey, Xbox, hockey. Okay, we're good. Like, oh, we're good. We're happy here. Um, and yeah, it was that first year was an interesting part of our friendship, as we sort of kind of both were dealing with uh just a lot going on. You were finishing up college. I was trying to see what life, what path I was going to take in life.
Well, it's crazy. It's crazy to me too because you think a lot of kind of close friendships, and I think it's fair to say that you're my best friend, if not close to it, right? So,
Mm,
it's funny you say that because like we met when we were late or mid late teens, kind of early 20s there, and you think the long term friendships usually. They're people you met in high school and middle school and stuff like that. But I mean, we've only gone closer over the years. Um,
yeah.
I didn't think, someone I met at that late in my life, but you know what I mean? Like that would be such a good friend. But I mean, over the years,
Yeah.
we've been through so much shit together. It's kind of just stuck
Yeah.
in a positive
Yeah,
way.
it's
Obviously, we
funny.
both had each other's backs and
Yeah, well, it's also interesting too, because like we haven't always had each other's backs. There've been a couple of arguments we've had, be it what it is, but we've also sort of kind of been cool about it. Where like we don't, well, I'm gonna take a month for myself. Doug, one of us will get our head on straight, and then we always sort of kind of come back, and we're cool, and we're able to get through whatever bullshit that had occurred. But the segment we wanted to be, off the ice. We're not talking about NHL hockey, but so much of our friendship is around hockey itself. Being going to games, being playing on teams together. We've played on some pretty interesting teams and dealt with some really interesting characters along the way.
yeah, I actually
Um,
yeah, I owe you for a lot of that.
well,
Probably wouldn't
I
have been
just
playing
like I
ice hockey
said,
if it wasn't for you.
when I met you, you were only doing stick and pucks, and that first season, I remember we were having those practices, and all you wanted to do was toe drag and roof it. And if it didn't hit a bar down, you were upset with yourself. It's crazy how you've sort of kind of like you so you sort of grow into a person who's like, you blocked a shot, you're missing teeth because you blocked a shot. Little things like
Accidentally.
that.
No.
Accident, it was purposefully accidentally, okay, like, but yeah, we were talking earlier about one of the first teams we played on was that roller team, where you got yourself you said what, 16 penalty minutes all in
Yeah,
one
on one
shift, yeah.
play. Yeah, I kind of felt bad because, I mean, you were kind of the one. So this is when we kind of like first started living together.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was looking for a team. So I'd played inline in high school, and this was before I really did the whole ice thing. So with the high school inline hockey and stuff, they had kind of organized everything for us. I'm sure you remember. I think you were at Sanderson or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm not sure if you played
Yeah.
back then, but yeah. So like it was kind of. I mean, it wasn't directly associated with the school, but they did organize everything through the local rink. So in college, I kind of stepped away, obviously focusing on my studies or whatever. But I hadn't really played, competitively. Occasionally, I do like an ice pickup here or there just to play some form of hockey.
Hmm.
But when you moved in, you were like, "Hey, I have a team. Would you be interested in?" And you had known I'd played, obviously, and you want to play. So you had kind of gotten me on this team, and it was a team with a bunch of your friends and people you've been playing with for a while. But yeah, so the incident you're talking about, I kind of felt like a douchebag, right? Because like this guy, he got me on his team, and I'm sitting here doing this. So from what I remember of it, I want to say I was getting a tripping call, and the guy I had tripped, like we had both like fell down at the same time or whatever because I'm such a great skater. But and then he would like given me a shove or whatever, and I'd given him a shove, and so they were going to call me for a rough as well. So that was four. And the play was still going on, so like no one had touched the puck yet, and I think I'd given him a slash or something, while the play was still going on. So that would have been six, and then we touched it up and they whistled it, and I intentionally I was
You were
just
the
trying
one
to
that
slap
touched
shot it
it.
because I was yeah. Well, I was just trying to like slap it away because I was pissed that they were going to call me. Like I was pissed at the whole situation, and I
Yeah.
accidentally slap shotted the puck into the opposing team's bench, and this is
Accidentally.
accidentally, yeah. So there's probably still like two periods to play. I want to say this is like at the very beginning of the second period. So the
Yeah.
referee I wish he would have kicked me out because like I've never seen a bench get pissed at one person as much as the other team get pissed at me. So I was like, these guys, if I get back out there, they're gonna fucking kill me, right? So, but no, the referees are like, I guess they didn't think I did it with malice, and granted, I was kind of pleading my case a little bit as well. But yeah, I had to sit the full 16 minutes. They gave me a 10 for shooting the puck into to their team's bench, and then they had the trip, the slash, and the rough. And I just the whole time I was like, I want this game to end. And I think I maybe took maybe one shift afterwards. And it's like, what do you say to your teammates when you come back? To that. I was like, just don't let me play again.
I distinctly remember asking you to play that game, and it was like pretty. I harped in pretty hard, and you're like, we really need you to show up for this game because we only had like
I was
six
at L
skaters.
House, yeah.
Yeah, we had six skaters that, and for roller hockey, it's four on the ice. People who don't know. So with you, we had six. So for the rest, that 16 minutes period, we had one extra skater, and that was hell. It was completely hell because like we were all burning, and it's not like ice where you can sort of kind of just coast up and then coast down. With roller in the friction, you're having to push off to go to be in the play one side, and then push off to
It's a lot of
play
work,
the
yeah.
other side. Yeah, so that was something. And for some reason, after that, I continually wanted you to be playing on my team. Don't ask me what I was smoking at the time, but
yeah. I'm still shocked you asked me to join your ice hockey team a couple years later. I think I played maybe one more season with you guys in inline, if that. And then
yeah,
not that you said, "Hey, Doug, we don't want you anymore." It's just like I was just over it entirely. But
yeah. So from there, we played. I think the first season you played with us was the Apaches. I think that was the name
yeah,
of the
well,
team we had.
it was kind of crazy because I mean, in case you guys don't know, I'm living in Raleigh right now, and but there was a brief little time period there where I've been kind of bouncing around, Chapel Hill and Charlotte. So after the inline thing, I ended up going down to Charlotte for an internship. So you and I didn't really talk too much then. You were kind of doing your own thing back in the Raleigh area, and so I was just doing drop-in ice hockey, and then I moved back to Raleigh a few years later. And I think you would see, maybe I'd posted something on Facebook or something about playing ice or whatever, and you'd invited me, or you hit me up in Facebook Messenger or something, or texted me, and you were
Yeah.
like, "Hey, do you want to go to a stick and puck?" Well, you kept inviting me to watch your team play the Wombat Combat or whatever, and
Yeah,
I didn't.
Wombat.
The thought of the thought of watching a rec league game, I was like, eh. But then you were like, "Hey, do you want to do a stick and puck with me?" They're having one at Rec Zone, which RCI, and then it used to be
Yeah.
the Hurricanes practice facility. And so we went out to stick and puck there, and you said you were kind of impressed with me. You didn't think I was going to be, I wouldn't say as good as I was, but I guess you didn't know how my
So
skill for ice.
yeah, and that's the important part, right? So I'd seen you play
Skill.
roller.
Yeah.
I'd seen you play roller, and with roller, it's sort of, I don't say it's easier to stick handle and to toe drag, but because of how much lighter the puck is, you're not having to account for like the ice, it being slick and whatnot. So I'd seen you do your thing doing roller, and I was like, okay, he's got hands, right? Clearly doesn't have legs, but has hands, right? So,
Still don't have legs.
but what ended up happening though is like, if I remember correctly, I think I'd tried a couple of times to get you on to come out and play Wombat, and I think when
Yeah.
I initially asked you, you were still in Charlotte, and you ended up like, hey, I'm moving back in like I think it's like a month or so. And after I started Wombat, I sort of kind of I walked away from it. Some of the people on there were, to say the least, but yeah, so I ended up it was in the process of starting a new team, and I needed like a right hand man, if you will, someone who I sort of kind of knew would sort of have my back, and so we and you we hung out, we started talking because we'd lived together and in our dorm room setup. We sort of kind of had that sort of kind of unique bond that you sort of kind of get with a brother. You know what I mean? When you're so
Yeah.
close all the time, how was class, how was your ex and how was this girl doing, and the back and forth of it all. But yeah, so we sort of kind of we did that, and yeah, like you were actually, I was surprised at how easily you could just roof up that puck. Mind you, at this point in time, I had probably played maybe like 6 months of ice. I spent my whole life playing roller for the most part, except for when I was a kid. But like I was so surprised at how effortlessly you could just fucking move that puck and just bar down it every single time. It wasn't even a feat for you. When I did it, I was like jumping up and down like I won the cup or some shit, right? But I was so impressed with that. And then so like we sort of kind of talked afterwards, and I sort of kind of was like, I really need someone who I know is gonna have my back because I'm gonna try to start a whole new team. Um, and I was sort of kind of surprised that like you jumped right in. All right, let's do it. And from there,
I,
we started getting a couple of guys from Wombat came over and played with us, the cool ones, if you will. And then go
No,
ahead.
I mean, from what and what I remember too is when I agreed, I was nervous as mess. Like I'd just been doing the stick and pucks, just been doing the pickups, right? I never
Hmm.
played ice in a league. I didn't know skill level. I didn't know any of that. And I do remember you signed us up for some league at the local carry thing. We should be good. Like you said, you got some guys from Wombat or whatever. I remember being completely overwhelmed that season. I don't think we got a single win. But what I
Yeah,
do remember is my first
we
ever ice
didn't.
hockey goal in a game. You sent me in on a breakaway. I want to say it was like the first period. It was like of like
Yeah,
my first game. Yeah,
yeah,
and so yeah, and I just remember you sending me in a breakaway, and then I didn't even make a move. I just shot and I scored. I was like, all right, and then so from there, I mean, the confidence built, and it was like you and I just had instant on ice chemistry there, and I think a lot of that kind of built off of or was built from having spent time living together, and like you said, that whole kind of brother kind of dynamic,
yeah,
and kind of speak to kind of what you said. We have had our issues, but that brother dynamic's there, so it's like you step away, you come back, and then things are good.
yeah. What was so interesting though is like with us, especially with like the on ice off ice sort of chemistry, is like we sort of kind of like how we play hockey is sort of kind of how we are as people. You know what I mean? Like you're the type of friend who's like when push comes to shove, you'll help out, you'll get the job done. You know what I mean? Like, and a little bit more like behind the scenes, checking in on you. So like with the way sort of kind of both of us work is like I'm the passer, you're the scorer. You're flashy, I'm a little bit more uh not so flashy. you know, I'm a little bit
You have your
more
moments. You have your moments.
I'm a little bit more I don't know how he did that, but he did type of ordeal. Like organized chaos was probably like the best way to describe how I glide from one side of the ice to the other. But yeah, it sort of kind of seemed like after that first season or so, we really got into a groove as far as like we knew what the other one was going to do on the ice. which eventually led us to championships and state championships here this last summer, which is sort of kind of nice, because not everyone can sort of kind of say that
Haven't really
they
missed a
had
beat.
they were able to win with their best friends, So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so from the
Yeah.
Apaches, we went. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Well, no, I was just going to say we've had multiple kind of rec league championships, and then you mentioned the states and stuff like that. Like we've had multiple finishing on tops. It's not just like one and out. We've won a couple times together, which is pretty nice.
Yeah,
Like you said, not everyone can kind of say that.
yeah. We've also gone to the championship and lost on some interesting teams as well. So that's a whole ass thing that I had very little to no part in organizing. So, but um, but yeah, no. So from the Apaches, we went through and trying to think. So that's where we met at Pro Rocks, and we had Gong playing with us, the Selvas. Um, and then Pro Rock was running out the ice uh, once a week. And at this point in time, we had Kerry Gardner going on, right? The rink's there. We had an Iceplex league, and we were running out the ice. Do you remember that one day that um, we had our practice at like 6:30, and then we had a game at like 8:30? Do you remember that?
I remember having to bounce around from the rinks. Yeah, my legs still
Yeah,
remember it too. I'll tell you that.
yeah. Because so with us having RCI was probably what, like 10 minutes from Iceplex. So I remember I think all of us kept our gear on. We just took our
Yeah,
skates
they were
off
they
to
were within
drive to
drives.
where we
Yeah,
needed to go. Yeah, and that
but
season was
honestly, I
fun. But
mean,
I was
it
thinking that
sounds
like
like a
with
lot, but
like
that
the
was the yeah.
best summer,
Go ahead,
honestly,
you can
it
finish
really
it. Yeah,
was. We,
yeah.
yeah,
I,
yeah. So like that
I
was
was
when
gonna
we
say that's the
met like
most hockey
Jake
I've
and
played. It was
Justin.
yeah.
Yeah, it was just a lot of fun though. We met Jake, Justin, John. Um, we just we had just a great time with it. Um, you know, so many of the players. What's sort of kind of nice, like because like I captaining a lot of these teams. What's so nice is when you get a good group of guys together and you see them start getting better. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not like it's sort of kind of sounds egotistical to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, like I enjoy seeing lesser players become better. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
someone
yeah,
who may not be given the same opportunity. With like this, this last team I started finding players who are looking for teams or accepting players who had never played before as part of a way to sort of kind of get them involved in the game. Because at the end of the day, like I sort of kind of view myself almost like as like a Gordon Bombay character, where I sort of kind of I want it to be inclusive. It's meant to be inclusive. So I want to take
yeah.
people who, like Justin came from roller hockey. Jake hadn't played in years, him being from like New Jersey, and John was a Canadian who hadn't been Canadian laced up skates in like 15 years. So like I like taking on those players and saying, hey, let's have fun with it. Let's see what happens. Maybe we won, maybe we won't. And that Kerry Gardner season, I remember thinking, oh my God, everyone's going to leave because we lost every game by more than like 5 goals. There wasn't, I think,
It was not
yeah, the
close. Yeah.
closest game we had was like it was that first game, right? And after that, it just went downhill so quickly.
And it's funny, like whenever I say I play hockey, I always call I'm a rec league player, whatever. But I always qualify it by saying rec league hockey players are douchebags,
Yeah,
and I just mean that from like a personality standpoint,
yeah, they
right?
are.
And for the most part, you are. But I've been fortunate enough to not. No, but I've
Thanks.
been fortunate. No, all right,
All
but
right, yeah,
no, but no. But like for the most part, I've been fortunate enough to like not having. I've played on teams of friends, so I haven't really had to deal with that. Like going into a locker room as the new guy, or maybe there's a personality there that doesn't get along with
hmm
others. A lot of that goes to you because you put those teams together. And when I think about it now, a lot of my friends that I would consider good friends that I've made later on in life have been from hockey. You mentioned Jake, Justin, and all that. Like, still talk to those guys, and those were guys that you kind of got on a team who were just starting out, and obviously the hockey aspect is there, but you found a way to get a lot of good individuals, like a lot of good people. Yeah, and then to see them grow into good hockey players too is another thing.
Yeah, and like I don't want this to be an ego trip for me, but it's been nice finding good people and being able to be successful with good people. Because it's, let's be honest, it's easy to find, like you sort of kind of said, douchebags who play hockey and just, round them all up, throw them on a team and say, well, let's go win, right? Which I think is something in,
Yeah,
it's been a while since I've really, like, it's been probably about, I don't know, maybe about a year or so now since I've really gotten back into full time being in the leagues and whatnot. But it sort of kind of seemed like it was something that I was noticing a lot of this last like 2 years or so. It seemed like a lot of what it was round up as many douches as you can and hope you could win, which is something that just doesn't sit well with me. Um, I always wanted the teams to feel like there was commodity there. That if a buddy in the team called you up and said, "Hey, I got a flat tire. I'm 5 minutes down the road. Can you help me?" Those guys would go and help. You know what I mean? Um,
yeah, yeah.
and I feel like we've sort of kind of been really fortunate in the fact that like we've gotten guys who have looked out for one another and who have wanted to help others.
Well, and you say the whole win people you actually enjoy playing with too. I mean, I'm thinking back to I want to say it was our first championship, and this is probably a couple seasons into the team you created where we kind of leveled out and we were actually pretty dominant regular
Mhm.
season or whatever. We hadn't won in the playoffs. Granted, it's a single elimination
Yeah,
playoff
right.
style, but like I do remember. I want to say it was the game before the championship, and I'm pretty sure we won the championship that year, where you and I had dueling hat tricks.
Yeah,
I want to say the game was back and forth, and I want to say you got the third goal to kind of tie the game or put us
and
ahead,
then you
and
finished it.
that's always been one of my favorite games to have been a part
Yeah,
of, and that wasn't even like the one we won, but it was just the excitement that everyone had, seeing. I mean, we were all in our mid-20s at that
yeah,
point. Having played a couple seasons together as a team, it was kind of cool to be a part of that and see that come together and we all liked
yeah.
each other. I mean, we were all friends too. We would all hang out before games, after games, go to get dinner and stuff like that. And that's pretty cool to have as part of a rec league
Yeah,
sport too.
I think what was so great about that is sort of kind of so many of those guys were on that first team that lost every game that season, right? I'd say at least like 5 or 6 of those guys were carried over to the winning team, right? But like it was such when you go through and you excuse me if when you go through and you sort of kind of go from the pit when you've lost every season, and then when you're in a position of leadership, everyone's looking at you like we just spent $300 a pop to lose every game. Now you want now I it's my job to
If not
now
more.
it's my job to convince you to come back and give me and to put another $300 towards this team again. So when you go through and you're trying so hard to get a team together and they stick with you and they know that like it's not always going to be shitty, to finally turn around after I think it was like about a year and a half or so to win a championship and then to win it in that caliber, where I think the semi game was like it was way harder than the final game was, I think
Oh, for sure. I remember it. Yeah, I remember being
yeah,
nervous
so I
before it.
think
Yeah,
I think that score was like I think it was like 8 to 7 or something, right? Where like it took, yeah,
it was up there.
it
Yeah,
took like
yeah.
full team effort to be able to actually, to win it. And then I remember for the championship game, um, we had what was his name? It was a kid. Oh, no, Matt.
Steven?
We had Matt. I can't remember how to pronounce his last name, but he was an NC State.
Well, yeah, you don't have
Yeah.
to name drop.
But no, he
Protect the innocent.
no, but he was an NC State student, right? And I remember going into the game, he gets all his stuff into the locker room, and we're like, "Hey, dude, where your pads?" And the look of terror on this guy's face, like he literally forgot his lower pads, his leg pads as a goalie. And apparently he like forgot them in the car, right? So
That's right. That's
to
right.
start this championship game where we were pretty confident we were going to win, we didn't even have a goalie. I think it was either like me or maybe it was John. We're like standing at like the goal crease, tried to make sure, like, do our damnedest to make sure that if anything got, came through, we'd try to block it, or at least get rid of the puck, right? And then finally he came in, he got his stuff on, and we ended up winning. I think it was like 4-1 or something like that. So yeah, just winning in that fashion and that style. Like I said, that was great. That was the way you should have won. And then the next season we had some new characters come in, and we won again. So it was nice to sort of kind of get a little back-to-back championship going on. But yeah, it's that ride was a lot of fun that year.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of piggybacking off that a little bit, you mentioned the States this summer, where we kind of got closer with Adam and Joel, our other
Yeah,
co-hosts. Um, who would have known like that whole thing would have turned into gold medal and then a podcast too. Like that just goes to show your judge of character when it comes to finding people who are fun to play
yeah,
with, who are good, but also good guys,
yes.
good
So
people, should I say?
I got sort of fortunate, right? So Adam and I talked first about doing a team, and for those who don't know, Adam O'Reilly over there is quite the hockey player, and he knows, yeah,
Oh,
he knows
really
some
good.
really
Yeah.
really good hockey players. So we started talking. We wanted to make sure that we could, if we got a team together, that we didn't want to overpower the whole league, but we also wanted to make sure that we're not going to get stomped every game either. So we decided to do Upper C, and it sort of kind of worked out nicely to where I felt like that was the right level for us. We did have one guy who I think is probably maybe a little better than everyone else. But the same point in time is, there were players like me, like you and Joel, where like we're just not on. Like, these guys are probably solid B plus players, pushing A level players, and we're solid intermediate C, solid. We hold our own there.
Hold our own, but we're not
Yeah,
controlling the
exactly.
game,
So like
yeah.
so there was a great mixture in our team, and then from there I really focused on getting people I wanted to be on the team, right? So I started with like Dallas and Bradford and Andrew down to my Wilmington guys, and then we were sort of kind of looking for a goalie for a little bit, and Dallas came up with a goalie guy and he was such a cool, chill guy, as well. And then we sort of just built out, and then we were fortunate enough that one of the guys who I had talked to first was Nate, and he ended up having to back out last minute, which are going to open up a spot for you to end up joining. Because I think when I first brought it up, we were a little hesitant about the skill level and who's going to be on the team, which was completely understandable. Like,
Well, the first time we played in this tournament, it did not end well.
not ending well is not
Did
ending
not
well.
end, I mean, we had a lot of fun off ice, but
Not ending well is about putting it about as polite as you could put it, right? I think we lost every game. The only cool thing was that I ended up meeting a chick from Wilmington. Like, that was the coolest part of the whole tournament. And after you realize we got, yeah,
back to drama. No, I'm just kidding.
uh, we got stomped that tournament. That was what, 2014, if I'm not mistaken.
Jeez, yeah,
Yeah,
time
and
flies.
so literally, like, it was just bad. It was rough at the end of the day. We got our ass beat pretty bad that tournament. So I could completely understand that the being reserved about wanting to join a team again, because it's time consuming. It's a tournament, so you're gonna play 3 or 4 games in like 2 days. So do you really want to be sore that whole entire time? But it sort of kind of came together perfectly, where like, Adam had 2 guys he wanted to play, and then Brad, and then certain players, people had someone else that they had in mind to kind of get us to where we needed to be. And it just worked out great. It really did. And I couldn't have been more happy with the results. Both of us had a goal. I think you did you have 2 goals that tournament? You said one.
No, I just had the one, but it was cool. One of the highlights for me though was your
Yeah.
goal, just because like, and I'm the loser who paid to be able to watch the highlights and stuff like that. But it's great because you're able
Yeah.
to save the clip. But you go back and you watch the clip, and it's like kind of broke down on a 2-on-1, and I think this kind of encompasses just how much we've played together and how close we are. Because like it's sort of a 2-on-1 down low, and
Yeah,
to pull up. Like I feel like anyone else is like driving the net, expecting a rebound,
yeah,
expecting me to shoot it, but just you see in the clip, you just like throw on the brakes, which is I mean, it was a great play, but like I don't think a lot of people make that. But I think you knew how I play and how
yeah.
that I was gonna get it
So
to you there, and it was just like it literally
yeah.
happened perfectly. That's what I see when I see the clip. I'm like, damn, how did he know to throw on the
So
brakes right then? But like that's just the type of
agreed.
chemistry
So
we
that
have, you
was like the
guys.
cool thing about me and you playing so much. So I knew with where you were in that the defender was sort of kind of drifting towards you. I knew the fact that you were either going to try to go around him and have a low percentage shot, or you try to go around him and then pass it if I had just stayed on the same path, right? So my thought was, okay, well, let me give him a completely different option that the defender can't block. The defender wouldn't have been able to with where he was at. He'd have to literally have like thrown his stick out, and hope and pray that he would maybe tipped it. So I was like, you know what, screw it. So I literally just like stopped and then started skating backwards slowly. And that pass was perfection. It just landed, you sauced it. It just landed flat. And I'm like, here we go. And it just, whipped it, high glove on the guy.
On your stick,
Yeah,
off your stick
high
in a
glove. And,
second. Yeah.
and it tipped right off his glove and went in. And I was just like, ah, man. What was so funny is afterwards I almost fall like into your arms because I'm like so excited. Like my computer in my brain just stopped working. It's like does not compute. It just I was ecstatic that to have been able to score because that tournament was it was a rough one for me, right? Like I said, like uh
Yeah.
I wasn't nearly as fast as I needed to have been. So I was going up and down, and just feeling like I was getting beat. I blocked a couple shots, little things like that. That I feel like I contribute more to the team. So getting that was just big for me, even though it was, I think that made it like 8-4, 8-5, that goal. It wasn't necessarily a big, highlight reel, or it was highlight reel, let's be honest. ESPN should be picking it up, but like it didn't help the team win at the end of the day. It was just an little insurance on insurance. But
Well, I think everyone was happy to see that go in.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
and like I said, like you're it also amazes me as well. Is like you always sell yourself short, right? You always like, I can't play with these high skilled guys. But you always, it surprises me. You always find a way to be you in a game. You know what I mean? Be it dancing around, being creating spaces and still getting shots off, even though these guys are on you, like flies on shit. You're always able to sort of kind of at least get a shot off or at least make a decent play. And it always scares me because I don't know, whatever it seems like whenever we're playing at these higher levels, somehow you always end up in the defensive zone, like you know, trying to break us out with the puck. I'm like, how did Doug get back there? That's not exactly Doug.
Yeah. Half the time I don't know. Yeah.
It's like that's not.
Yeah. Believe I have the same thoughts. I'm like, how did I get back here?
I was like, this is not what I envisioned when I said Doug play forward. Why are you making the stretch pass, Doug? But yeah, so it's just it's been super fun, just being able to play this much hockey as we played over, God, what, 12 years now. So, but yeah, so
Oh, geez.
yeah, I know,
Starting to go
right? This is
gray.
why I keep this haircut that we can't see because of the lighting. But yeah, because this is just all gray at this point. So, but yeah, dude. So we started this podcast uh last year, towards the end of last year. It was we did we record it? I think no, I think we had you come over. You were supposed to record it, and then I think Adam had having to leave abruptly or something happened to where, oh, Dre.
Or
No,
you
no,
had a
no, no.
date.
Dre was gonna be super late from the time he said he was gonna be able to come, and I'd already made up a plan to do something like an hour and a half after. So it was just one situation where just sort of just didn't the timing didn't work out well. But uh, when we are going into season, this next season, I really wanted to encompass you and Joel as well on the podcast because I felt like um, you know Adam and Joel are also really really close to being best friends if they're not. But like I feel like it was sort of kind of a great time to get all four of us in on this and sort of kind
Yeah.
of build it and see what happens with it.
Yeah, and I'm actually excited for that too, and that's why, when you're like, hey, we're really thinking about doing this thing, we want, we'd like you to be a part of it. Yeah, absolutely. It kind of sucked that I missed the first season, but life happens and stuff like that. But I mean, I had listened to what you and Adam were doing for last season, and I'd really enjoyed what I heard. And obviously, you guys are great guys and know your shit. So to be able to do a podcast with my best buddy and then two other great guys who, as we said, I got to know a little bit better over the summer was a
Yeah.
no brainer.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. It's been an interesting journey. I'm sort of kind of excited though, to sort of kind of see you like develop as well. You know what I mean? As far as with like writing and now being on the podcast, because let's be honest, like the first couple of go rounds, it's a little bit nerve wracking, especially with the this tech we're using, where you're sort of kind of seeing yourself, you're seeing yourself talk,
Say the
and then
least.
knowing that people are going to be watching you, people are going to be editing you, and you know what I mean. There's so much more to it going on, but it's exciting to see. Okay, he's going to start being able to go through and to see you take off in your own way, and then with the writing as well for the blog for covering the caps, because I think that, like I said, like both of us, we've sort of chatted about this. This is such a dream of ours to be able to cover our teams and give people the opportunity to read about it. It's kind of interesting to sort of kind of be like the masters of our own fate. You know what I mean? And say, you know what, screw it. I'm not going to wait for someone else to ask me to do it. I'm just going to make a website ourselves and then be able to put out our content.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of, I mean, there's a vulnerability there too. Obviously, like you kind of have to put that aside when you're uploading stuff for everyone to see, all our viewer. Thanks, mom. But no, no, I know she's watching. No, but yeah, that's and it's exciting too. I feel like I need to qualify every episode with yes, English is my first language. Uh, but but no, yeah, it's exciting. I mean, reading your first article, the one you just released, was awesome. If it would have been on NHL.com, I would have believed it.
Oh
It's
shucks.
great content. I mean, you got showing me that gray hair, but but yeah, no, it's exciting, and I can't wait to see where this can lead, and you wanting mentioning obviously doing the fantasy hockey thing, and then mentioning doing the hopefully a little charity
Y-
game.
yeah,
Who knows? And the fact that we're actually doing it,
yeah.
is
No, and,
is great.
my sort of my thought with so much of this stuff is because like this isn't the podcast, so I guess I'm way more open about like these things. It's like I want for the four of us, if we wanted to, for this to be a career path for us. You know, at the end of the day, if we're all such big fans of a hockey, Adam refs, Joel is just so analytical about every single player, every single thing, you being the big Caps fan that you are, and with me covering the Canes and whatnot, like there's so much potential there, you know. And like worst, like my thought process is, okay, worst comes to worst, we're shell out, a couple $1,000s, when it's all said and done, but for the opportunity to make a living at it, you know, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but the idea is let's just give people the opportunity to see what happens with it. Um,
Yeah,
with it being so much of our passions, I feel like all of us will find time and find ways to make sure that we're successful at it ourselves. Um, but yeah, I'm hoping that like with the charity game, right? The idea is we're gonna find a cause. We're gonna make sure that, we're gonna donate. My idea was somewhere in the ballpark of between 200 to 250 a player to play, with majority of that going to the charity. Um, and then the idea is we want to do it over at what's it called? WCC. Yeah, where they have the
WCC.
stadium and the stadium seating and whatnot. My idea is, you know what? Let's go through and let's talk to them. Hey, it's $5 a pop. Everything's going to charity. You know what I mean? And with Adam knowing some ex players, I'm really hoping that we can get maybe two or three of them to come in and chip in and support and help support it. With the idea being that's sort of kind of like the selling point, right? Is like, hey, come check out these former NHLers play and have a little bit of fun, donate to a good cause, and like my idea is we're gonna have like black jerseys and white jerseys, for essentially it's gonna be Team Adam versus Team Danny, as far as like the two opposing teams, and we want to do it so it's like open hockey, right? So we'll either pick, it's like a pickup. So we'll pick this person, this person, this person, or what we'll do is we'll just throw 9 sticks on this side, 9 sticks on that side. Okay, these are the teams, and so we're going to see how it falls, But the idea is just to have fun, and give back to the community and be able to really like spread the sport in which we love, but also to make sure that we're giving back to a community that Raleigh is a great place to live, and be it Canes and community or whatever it's going to end up being, whichever charity it is. It is just to help out when we can, But it also is a great opportunity for us to sort of share our name and sort of get ourselves cemented as a podcast that's in Raleigh, North Carolina, that is here to also help and support as we can, So there's a lot going behind it.
Yeah, keep it local.
But there's a lot behind wanting to do the charity, You want to give back, but you also want to establish yourself as well.
And that's when you brought up the idea, and I think I could kind of speak for those guys too. I think that's what the exciting part of it, is being able to give back, but also grow as a podcast and as people too, and just get our work out there as well. It's a win-win. I really once it gets off the ground, I can't see a negative to it at all.
Yeah, like I say, it'll be fun. Who knows how it'll I'm positive it's going to go well, but there's so many pieces and so much work that's going to be done. I think we're sort of aiming for like February, March-ish, towards like a little later in the season and whatnot. So we're going to give everyone an opportunity to get through the holidays and whatnot without having to worry about that expense. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun as far as being able to get it together. But
yeah, I mean, worst case, just have a lot of fun. You know what I mean? With you kicking my ass. No, I'm just kidding.
So, but yeah, was there anything else you wanted to hit on this first one? This first little vlog?
I kind of think this kind of segment went well. I enjoy these are a little bit easier for me than the podcasts, just because it's a little bit easier kind of speaking to one person and back and forth and just off the cuff type of thing. I kind of look forward to doing these in the future, maybe choosing a specific topic and just kind of ranting on that. Obviously we've known each other for a long time, so we both have strong opinions on certain things and could kind of banter back and forth about it. It's kind of fun. This flowed pretty well, I thought.
Perfect.
I enjoyed it. Yeah. And it's a good way for us to catch up while you're in Hawaii.
My adventures, which will be an episode at some point in time. But anyway, guys, we appreciate everything. If you guys don't already like, subscribe, comment, tell us we're trash. Yeah.
Hit the notification bell.
All that stuff that you every time you watch a video you hate hearing people say. Yeah, we're gonna have to say it too. It's how we
and chirp us and
yeah. Also,
we read every comment.
Feel free to give us ideas of topics. The only thing that we're not really going to hit is politics, because it's a pretty touchy-feely subject. But everything else we'll hit. If you want to, it's
pretty divisive.
If you have a topic you think would be a lot of fun to sort of kind of see us squirm through, by all means, let us know. But anyway, guys, this is Danny P. And Dougie Fresh.
Same with yep. And this is Dougie Fresh. No, I was just gonna say too. Yeah, if you're coming from if you're getting us from the Chuck and Nux podcast, comment on that too. Let us know what we're doing good, what we're doing bad. I know O'Reilly mentions that as well. But yeah, we love the feedback on this one and in the main Chuck and Nux Floating Pucks podcast.
Perfect. Alrighty, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Yep. Have a good week.